TSF Entertainment.
And welcome back to the TSF Entertainment channel. Retro CG in the building. Got my brother DJ Fresh, Your Highness. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's going on, bro?
Ain't that much. How was your day?
Yeah.
Right, ready for it to be over with. I get it. All right. So we're here to talk about Bel Air. It is season 4, episode 6. Your crown is waiting. What did you think about the episode?
Wasn't a bad episode at all.
Nah, it wasn't a bad. Couple of moments that I was like, huh? What?
Yeah, I had those exact same feelings. I was like, but then I had to keep in mind, I was like, this was a rush season, so gotta kind of overlook it.
Yeah, some moments in this episode felt rushed. Just like we talked about in the last episode, there was a lot of moments that were rushed in that episode as well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump on into it. Episode synopsis is the senior. Oh no, wrong episode synopsis. Will and Carlton have affinities regarding their future, and Phil takes a strong measure to protect his family. So remember, I said way back, I said Phil, something wrong with Phil, something going on with Phil. So we find out in this episode what his plan was. The episode starts off with Vivian, which I kind of wished they would have showed us
when they got home.
Yeah, because remember in the last episode, she was, I don't know if it was Braxton Hicks, contractions, but she was having labor pains. And so we thought there was complications with the baby. She could possibly been going into labor, because we learned in that episode too that she was in her last trimester, and we was like, damn, she was just pregnant the last episode and now she's delivering.
Yeah.
So you got the family in there taking care of her. Will's fixing her something to drink. Carlton's bringing her a warm blanket. Ashley's bringing her a bell for her to ring if she needs anything. And in comes Hillary. Coco is back in the building. So we knew that we would get her in these last few episodes, because we know that she was booked and busy throughout the filming of this season. So Hillary is back to help take care of her mom. She sits down and she tells the family about her experiences in Costa Rica. So I'm very surprised that they did not have a conversation with the kids about what has been going on, which I was very surprised that they kept that from them.
Yeah.
So we'll see later on if they decide to let the family know what's going on. Any thoughts on that scene from you, Fresh?
No, same thing. I was thinking once Hillary got back, I was like, okay. I kind of thought before all of that, I thought maybe they were just going to go into like a whole family moment. But then again, at the same time, I guess because Viv had just had those pains, so I was actually a little bit surprised to see Hillary back, although I know we're near the end, but I guess I thought she wouldn't come into like the end
is
where we would have saw her at.
And I wonder if they filmed all these episodes, these last few episodes, I wonder if they filmed all of those like in one day or at the same time. So because they had her during that period, so I wonder if they just knocked out all her scenes and kept her moving.
They probably did.
So we talked her up. Will's on a FaceTime with his mom. We had been saying, like, where's Will's mom at? Like, the ideal time for her to pop up would have been at Thanksgiving. So he's on a FaceTime with his mom, and he's telling his mom about his hesitation with Stapleton. And she got to go off on him a little bit. I get it that she is concerned about his future, and she wants him to go to college and all that good stuff, but it sounds more like she's on the same page as the coach was.
Yeah,
the coach wanted him to focus on nothing but basketball. It sounds like the mom only wants him to focus on basketball, but the boy is trying to go to school. He doesn't want basketball to be his only ticket to success. He wants to go get a business major, and I thought that for that she would be proud of him for that, rather than just, she kind of like chastised him a little bit. What did you think about that? Because she got
I think to me it sounded like she was more so worried about money. So it sounded like, you're getting offered a free ride. So what if the coach don't want you to do what the coach say? We're getting a free ride, so you need to take it. I think that's all she was more concerned about. She didn't really care about like Will's business mind or whatever other thing he wanted to do outside of basketball. All she was looking at was the key word free ride,
Right.
and that's all she was focused on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she got on my nerves with that. And she hung up on him too.
Yep.
And he was like, man, this is why I didn't want to tell you. So Will's a little bit frustrated right now because like it's his choice. He's got to go 4+ years in college, just depending on what his major is and what he's going to have to do. You know, this should be a decision that he's comfortable with, not forced with.
Yeah.
So I feel Will on this. For once, I'm actually riding with Will on this. Like, don't force him. I feel like season 1, season 2, Will would have took this full ride with Stapleton, would have been happy to play basketball, but he's evolved. He's changed. So, and I don't think that she has realized that. So we get a flashback scene 8 years earlier, and I feel like that should have been a little bit longer than 8 years. Maybe so, because I guess he's 18. So yeah. We see a young.
You might.
That was the same thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. If he's 18, yeah, 8 years earlier. Okay, yeah, that would have made him 10. Okay.
Yeah. We learned that Will's very studious, and he does good in school. And one of the things we learned then, she should know this about her child too, that Will gets bored easily. You know, he made good grades, and he was getting into trouble in school because he would finish his work before everyone else in the class did, and he kind of got into mischief doing that. But we also learned that he's one of the top performers in his class, so she knows that her son is intelligent, and she kind of plants the seed in his head even back then to want to go to Bel Air. So I thought that was very interesting that she kind of always wanted him to go out there and go to school. What were your thoughts about that?
I could say this is one thing that I did like about the episode. Us getting the flashbacks. I definitely like that about this episode. That part I was actually surprised to see of how studious Will was, because we didn't see it since we never saw it. Even during season 1, like we never saw that Will was studious. So I was actually surprised and shocked to see how studious and how good he was at math, and why that never, I guess, you know, like we should have saw some of that in season 1, and we never saw none of that.
We should have saw that before season 4. Even if we didn't see it in season 1, definitely season 2 or season 3, we should have definitely saw that Will actually did do good in school.
Especially when they did Blacksis. Like we should have saw it then.
Yeah, we should have. That's the perfect time we should have saw it last season. Yep. So Phil is in his office, and Jeffrey comes in, and Jeffrey lets him know that everything's wrapped up with Dominique. He asks how Vivian was doing, and Phil uses his opportunity to kind of make a little comment to him about what she's stressed with all this going on. And Jeffrey also lets him know that the tip that the lady that was running around with Jazz, Pamela, the tip that Pamela had gave paid off, that the feds did go and question Jazz. They did look into his financial business, and that they'll probably be knocking on his door next. And feel like, I ain't waiting. I'm finna go in right now and talk to them. So I think that Phil did ask Jeffrey, you know, was everything good? You know, did they have anything that they needed to talk about? And Jeffrey told him, nope, everything is good, especially when they got on the subject of Dominique. I think Phil was trying to get Jeffrey to open up as to why he was there at the construction site with Dominique. Remember when he had called and asked him to go for the joyride, and Jeffrey was like, he's busy or getting ready to go home for the night. I felt like if Jeffrey would have been honest with him there, Phil would have opened up to him about what he was getting ready to do, because I feel like Jeffrey didn't know Phil's plan.
I'm 50-50.
Okay.
I'm 50-50 with it. I feel like he did because of when we get to it, it was something that Jeffrey said. That I felt like he kind of knew, but he didn't know like the entire parameters of what Phil was doing.
Or maybe he had it in the back of his mind that Phil was, shaky and could be working at different angles. So you might have a point there. So I think they're all in Carlton's room. Yeah, I think they're in Carlton's room. Will and Carlton's room will start to look alike now.
Yeah, I was about to say for a
Very
second, I was about to say, nah, that's Will's room, but it sure ain't because Will's bed is facing the opposite way.
Will's bed is facing, that direction or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they're all meeting up in Carlton's room, and the fellas are telling Hillary, catching her up on everything that's going on. But most importantly, they're catching her up on their feelings. Neither one of them right now want to go to the colleges that they've been accepted. Yeah. And so, she's trying to give them some of her Zen advice that she learned while she was in Costa Rica with all of the things that she learned about peace and harmony and all that good stuff. I'm like, okay,
all that stuff.
Tranquility, yeah. She swam in the waterfalls.
Yep, even got the hair, the clothes, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's not even normal Hillary what she got on.
Yep. Right, sure isn't. Yep. And well, I'll touch on that. I'll probably touch on that in a later episode. So, but yeah, some things I want to say. So Will ends up going to talk to Uncle Phil, which he kind of encouraged Carlton to go ahead and talk to his dad too, let his dad know what's going on. He goes and talks to Uncle Phil about how his feelings are about going to the school. And Uncle Phil pretty much tells him that your network is your net worth. In other words, you are at the end of the period where they're accepting. So you need to figure out what school you want to go to, and you need to go ahead and try to figure out how you're going to get admitted. And on top of that, you're looking for a scholarship too. This is going to be even harder. So in many words, Uncle Phil encouraged Will to go ahead and reach out to his network of people to see if any of them can help support him, which I was very surprised that he didn't offer the assistance. But I think he also knows that Will kind of wants to do it on his own too.
Yeah. I was very excuse me, I was very shocked that he didn't offer, or at least Will didn't ask him to like, hey, is this somebody I can meet real quick or something like that, where like, I can do the work. So I was actually surprised myself that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was fully expecting it to happen, or what I was expecting to happen was Uncle Phil was going to go ahead and pay for his tuition and make it look like he had gotten a scholarship and just not let Will know that he paid for it. So we get another flashback scene here, and this time it is Phil and Carlton when Carlton was a kid, and we saw from very early on. I'm not going to say that Phil was putting pressure on him. I don't think that he's putting any level of pressure on him that any black father would put on his son. But at the same time, we saw that Phil planted the seeds in Carlton's head early on that he had to be more than just average. He had to do more. Hey, if you want to get to Bel Air Academy like your sister, you got to make good grades. We saw here, which I was very surprised because I don't think that we knew that in earlier seasons that Carlton struggled with math. See, I thought Carlton made good grades and Carlton was the more studious one out of him and Will. So this flip-flop is hard for me to process that because even with him getting into Princeton, we learned that he was top of his class. He had good grades. Now to learn this late in the game that Carlton actually had issues with math and he didn't really do so good in the beginning with school, but we saw that Phil was kind of pushing him to just not be average. And I felt like we should have learned all of this when Carlton was having them anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
When he was having them panic attacks and them anxiety attacks and he was on that stuff, that's when we should have learned what drove him to have that. And I feel like this right here is an answer to that. I think this is the answer to why Carlton was so high strung all the time, because he felt like he could never be himself. He always had to please everyone. He always had to do good. So we saw the makings of that here.
Yep.
He's sitting in his room on social media, and I think he's looking at posts for people who went to Princeton and some of the memes or gifts that are out there about the school, which is leading his decision to not want to go and be under that pressure.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the page. It was something Black Ivy League, something like that. But just like you said,
Ivy League or something like that.
Yeah,
the only black
all the different stories and stuff.
The professor asked if I could do the tribal dance. The trauma is real. So Carlton is having an issue before he even get to the school with, being accepted and not having to be black and in an Ivy League school and one like Princeton. So yeah, I could see where this would probably drive Carlton back to getting on this stuff if he went to that school.
Yeah, I kind of felt like we was gonna get that anyway, just from the last episode when he was talking to the guy from Princeton. Like, just the way the guy was telling him, like, you got to be yourself and more. Like, he was already feeling the pressure. Like, yeah, I don't even think I want to go through all that. I've been dealing with that since Bel Air. So this right here threw me off though. When he gave him the key, I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, bro, what's going on? I was like, man, we better not get unalive in the field.
I told you I had a vibe last episode. I said I felt like something was going on with Philip. I didn't know what they were setting us up for, because and you made a very good point, and it kind of left me with that, because I mean, you were right. He said in the last episode that he was at the same age his father was when his father passed. He's been drinking a little green juice and stuff like that. So, and then he's over 40, getting ready to have a kid. So I just thought that he was just overly concerned about his health. Now it seems like he's more so concerned about getting locked up or possibly being unalive. So I couldn't figure out what it was last week that I was picking up on, but I think that's what they were trying to give us the hint towards, that Uncle Phil is not sure himself how this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
I don't think he was sure himself how this was going to turn out, because you see that he's got things in order, or trying to get things in order. Give Carlton the key to the safe and told Carlton that be there for your mom, be here for the family. I'm depending on you, which I'm very surprised Carlton didn't question him about that.
Well, he kind of, but he didn't do it enough, because he asked him, is everything all right? And he's just like, and Phil just brushed it off like, yeah, everything's fine, like, or whatever. So, but I would have liked to see, like, at least after that, like, Carlton go to his mom and say, hey, mom, what's going on? Dad gave this, like, what's going on around here? Like, is he sick or something like that? Like, what's going on? So, like you said, it was very shocking how none of this came in to play with the family knowing, except for
nobody asked questions.
Yeah, like nobody knows.
Yeah. So even here in this moment right here, he's letting Vivian know that he's getting ready to go in for FBI questioning, and he's like, well, Hillary's back now. She'll look after you. I gave Carlton the key to the safe. I told Carlton that he needs to step up and take care of the family, take care of you, and all that stuff. She's like, Phil, you act like you not coming back.
Yep.
And, he didn't really give her any reassurance either that he was coming back.
Sure did.
That right there told me he didn't know how it was going to turn out.
He sure didn't give her no reassurance. All he just said, everything will be fine. That was it.
He wasn't sure himself if he was coming back. Yo, this doctor pissed me off right here. This doctor, he's supposed to be a specialist, making house calls, been paid big wop. And I felt Vivian, I actually felt Hillary more than Vivian.
Yep.
Vivian was kind of being a little bit more passive with it, and she was just going with the flow. Whereas Hillary, she was questioning this doctor, can you run this test? Can you run that? And I hate that when doctors, when healthcare providers don't listen to your concerns about what's wrong with you. You know your body, you live in it. And so when you know that you're not feeling well and something is not right, something's not normal, and you try to explain it to someone and someone's telling you that it's all in your mind or it's not this, it's not that, that pisses you off even more because I'm here for help, but you're not listening to me. And that's what I felt in this moment was the doctor really wasn't trying to hear what Vivian's concerns was. He was just trying to brush it off as that she's overage and pregnant and it's okay, just rest.
Yeah.
She was like, my feet and hands are aching or itching or something like that.
Yeah, she was like they itching.
Yeah, he was like, hey, I'm gonna write you a prescription for some cortisone cream and you'll be all right. Take it easy. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it easy with the time to pay that bill.
Yeah, I think Viv she was just more so because like he the specialist, so she wasn't looking too big into it. She just like, okay, but Hillary going through that traumatic experience she went through with LaMarcus, that's why she was on guard and like, nah. Like, you supposed to be this world-renowned specialist. Like, nah, we about to make him, do this stuff. Like, it should be more than this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Will's back in his room and he has made him a board of all of his network. And it's very surprising because he's got a lot of heavy hitters up here that he's reached out to help, and all of them were no. Which I really thought Quentin was going to help him out. I thought it was going to end up being Quentin that ended up helping him out. But he calls all of them one by one. Yep. And all of them kind of brushed him off a little bit.
Yep.
Doc was the only one that gave him hope. Which I was very surprised to see Doc back and not up to any mischief. But I can't even remember how things ended with Doc.
Nah, from what I remember, everything ended good with Doc.
I don't know why I felt like things ended on bad terms with him and Will.
Nah, I think everything ended good because remember, if I remember correctly, he ended up leaving. And remember, I remember him ended up helping a teammate out on Doc's team because remember they were getting on him about like, you get to drive back to Bel Air and these fancy in that fancy truck and the clothes and all this stuff while like we like we had to grind to get here. And I feel like he helped out a fellow teammate for Zenith. Matter of fact, because Phil helped him get out of that little shady deal he had with that dude.
That's right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
because we thought Doc was moving shady, but it was the business partner that he was in business with.
And I think after that, that's when Will decided he wanted to come back to Bel Air and wanted to play back for Bel Air instead of Zenith.
Okay. All right, so he's talking to Carlton, and I think is it here where he tells Carlton that no, is it here where Carlton tells Will that Uncle Phil expects more of him than he do?
No, that's not the scene. This is the one where this is the scene where Will is explaining the whole breakdown of all the different networks and stuff that he's gonna have to do, which Carlton kind of tells like it's a long shot, but then again he tells him again, no, you know what, you are right, this is where he tells him that, because that's where Will tells him that he needs to finally come clean to Uncle Phil about him not wanting to go into Princeton. And then that's when he makes that statement and Will walks out of the room after he ends up making that statement.
And I feel like part of what Carlton, the reason why Carlton, just like we see in the flashback later on, because Will's never really struggled with grades, whereas obviously Carlton has struggled with grades. So I think that comment was more so an answer to why Uncle Phil expects more of him than you, because you don't struggle with this. You don't have a problem with this. You're good. Whereas with me, I'm going to have a big problem with this, and I can't let my family down. I can't let Dad down. So Will does encourage him to come clean with his dad and let his dad know he's in his office right now. You need to go down here and talk to him and let him know what's up.
What's funny is I took it as that when Carlton made that statement was because like Will didn't have the father in his life, so I ain't even think about that other stuff till you just said it.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that till you just said it. Okay, that's a really good point.
Just
okay,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like he expects more from me, and like you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what that's like, and that's
you haven't had a father
Yep.
to put that pressure on you like that. Got it. So in this scene right here, we learned that Carlton again struggling with math. Will's good with math, and Will confides in him or opens up to him that his mom wanted him to come to Bel Air Academy, and we saw that Carlton discouraged him from that. Like, you won't fit in, you know. So I think early on, Carlton saw that there was competition with him and Will, and so I think that explained why there was such acrimony between the two of them at the beginning of season 1. Whereas Will has always just been Will, and Will's always did what Will does. Whereas Carlton has seemingly been a little bit jealous of Will, has had a little bit of, you know, an underlying bit of jealousy towards Will because Will was good with sports, Will was good with good grades. And so him coming out to Bel Air and them going to school growing up, that would have made things even harder for Carlton, because he would have been in the shadow of Will even at an earlier age. So even hearing him make that comment to me was a little manipulative.
I didn't even think about that. So you just said that. Dang, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Because we saw that it changed Will's thought process towards it. Changed Will's mind from wanting to come out there.
Yep, he didn't want to go no more.
He didn't want to go no more. And we saw that Carlton actually had to spend more time studying than Will did too, because remember when his dad was talking to him, he told him, like, even when you go out to Philly for some break, take your workbooks and stuff with you and study. So Carlton's always had to study, whereas it seemed like Will just has a natural ability with math, and he's good with numbers. This threw me.
Yeah.
This right here threw me. I wasn't prepared for that. I knew that he was going in to talk to them, but I thought he was going to do that little, the little dance about, yeah, I understand you came down and talked to one of my businesses, blah, 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 blah. You know, what is this all about? I didn't think that he was going in for a full confession.
Yeah. I was like, man, this is a hell of a plot twist, because I did not see this coming.
I see that. They did good with that. I did not see that at all. I did not think that's what he was getting ready to go down there and tell.
No. I did not at all. So when he first started, I was like, bro, you're a lawyer, so why are you just?
And you're not in the presence of a lawyer.
Yeah, I was like, why are you just giving them like all the information? Like, you just telling them like, yeah, I did it. So that's when I was just like when the dude said, like, bro, you facing like 20 years. Like, I was just like, you just giving them all the information. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because even I thought he was going to go at a different angle as he was going through the confession. He did it, but he didn't do it in a way that it came across believable. It was just real smug about all of it, to be quite honest with you. But I would have thought he would have led with I had to do it because I was under duress. You know, they ransacked my house, they threatened my family, they threatened my house manager. Like, I had no other choice but to do this until I could get some help, because they were threatening. They had kidnapped my nephew. See, I thought he was going to tell, if he was going to tell everything. But whether he told that part or not, they didn't show. But I was like, why didn't you tell them why you did it? You know, you did it because your family was threatened. They were being threatened. You did it under duress. You know, you didn't do it free willingly. You did it because you were under duress. So at that point, when he was like, I have an associate that'll come in and help explain this. And we learned that it was the DA, Fred Wilkes, Lisa's dad, comes in. And I felt like because he's the DA, he should have been able to come in and shut it down. I guess the FBI can charge on their own without the cooperation of the district attorney, I guess.
Yeah, because most district attorneys is state. Like, he's probably the state district attorney and not a federal one.
Yeah, not a federal one. Yep, correct. So we come in, and this is when we learned that from the get-go, Uncle Phil had called Fred, told Fred he was in trouble and what was going on. They put him on a wire. So his first meeting. So that day when him and Jeffrey were working out, he called Fred right after that and told Fred what was going on. Fred puts him in a wire. And so when he met with Dominique, we saw the wire. And I was like, that was dope. They did that because I never paid attention to it in that episode. Even just didn't even realize that he had a suit pan on at all.
Yeah.
Didn't even pay attention to it. So I went back and actually watched the episode just to see if the suit pan was there. And it was. I was like, that was dope because Uncle Phil from the first meeting with Dominique was recording.
Yep. So that actually was dope. Yeah. I didn't see that either. I paid no attention to that either.
Yep. That was really dope. And so Uncle Phil thinks that he's done everything he needs to do. He's getting ready to get up and go. And he's like, man, we're not done with you yet. You think you out of hot water? And that's when the FBI agent lets him know that we need more information. We need an informant. We need details. And we need the man who's making the deposits right here. So that was what Uncle Phil was not prepared for. He was not prepared to give up Jeffrey.
Not at all.
And that wasn't part of bringing Jeffrey into any of this, wasn't part of his plan. So that kind of threw a monkey wrench in his plans, which we later learned that he wants Jeffrey to inform as well. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, well, I'll wait till we get to it. So Phil is back home and lets Vivian know that everything's going to be okay. However, they do want Jeffrey as well. And they left that open-ended. They left that what he was getting ready to do next open-ended. Because, like, are you going to give him up or what you going to do?
Well, remember Viv said to him that, like, are you going to tell him? And he said he doesn't know where Jeffrey Head is these days. And that's what she was like, well, you need to find out. Yeah. So I think by her saying that is what made him like, okay, let me get Jeffrey on board or try to get him on board versus it just selling him out.
Okay. That makes sense. For me, it was a little open-ended because I wasn't sure Vivian's feelings too towards Jeffrey because, you know, she had been kind of cold to him these last few interactions with him. So I felt like she was going to instantly say, yeah, give him up.
Mm-hmm.
So her response threw me too because I didn't expect for her to respond in a positive way. I expected her to have a negative response. When he said that they want Jeffrey too, I expected her to fully say, give him up. So you're right. That actually put things in perspective that he needs to go dance around Jeffrey a little bit and find out where is his head is at.
Yep.
Did we know at this time what school this coach was from?
No. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I don't think they even ever mentioned what school he was from. I could be wrong.
I don't think so either. Because when I went back and watched the episode, I was like, I guess they did that because they didn't want us to know what school Phil was scouting for. Because we later on find out what school he wanted to go to. So I'm assuming this is a coach from that school. So they're down at Zenith, and Doc has called in a favor, like he promised Will that he would do. Dude is watching Will. He's like, yo, he got good stats. You know, he good. But again, you know, my roster is full. I think he could make a place on the team for him, but it wouldn't be a position of like he basically told.
Yeah,
he basically told Will that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I would say, yeah, basically like he wouldn't be starting. So he would be like...
He would be starting at all, but he also said that... what did he say to him? He said that you're giving up an opportunity to be a star player at Stapleton to come and pretty much keep a bench warm over here.
Yep. And he was just like, well, you know what? I wonder if this is the guy... No, because they still never said... That's not USC, so nah, that ain't it. So yeah, they don't ever say. But he ends up.
Will was happy with that though.
He dapped him up and he dapped up Doc because the guys told him was just like, well, you know what, you're gonna have to do some type of class as well as like some for the summer or whatever. And Will was just like, you know what, I'll do whatever it takes.
Yep.
And that's when he was like, okay, cool, I'll put the word in.
He was just happy to get a spot on the team and at the same time to be able to focus on his studies. So I'm happy for him in this situation, but I was like, I wonder how this is going to turn out. I told you in that other episode that boy had a dress on. They had a dress on. So we see Ashley and Eli at school, and I swear, Fresh, this boy is older than her. In every aspect, this boy looks like he's older than her. Even when it was in detention, I was looking at how big his hands were. I was like, this dude looks like he might be like a sophomore or a junior.
I mean, it's puberty, but when it first started, this scene, I was like, what the hell? I don't know why. For a quick second, I was like, bro, I know that's not like Ashley or like Lisa, whoever legs. Like, it threw me off at the beginning because I was like, yo, who the hell legs?
They shoot up from his leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was wearing the shirt. Yeah.
So that's why I was like, yo, who? Then I was like, this can't be a mirror. I was like, who the legs are these, bro? Then it came up and I was like, really? I was like, okay, should have known.
Yep. So I told you that was that old nasty principal from the when it was the one that made him take the Blacksmith's gear off, whatever. Approaches, and he just, I mean, I understand he got to enforce the rules. Yeah. I understand the rules are the rules. It's just the way that he talked to them to make me feel like, okay, he was a little bit on the.
I get what you're saying.
I didn't like the vibe, and obviously Eli didn't like the vibe either. So he approached Eli and said, "Eli, you're not in dress code." And he was like, "Yes, I am. I'm wearing the Bel Air Academy uniform." And he says, the principal says, or the dean says to him that you are a boy, and boys are not approved to wear skirts.
Oh, boy, Damon.
You're a boy, Damon. And he says, well, he informed someone what his pronouns is, and of course, you know, I knew instantly little Miss Ashley was gonna be offended, all up and down and through. I knew that she was getting ready to have some mouth about it. I thought she was getting ready to get in trouble too because she was talking back, and I was like, Ashley's gonna get in trouble. She's gonna go wild out behind this. That's what I thought was going to happen.
It was funny. She was sitting there, everybody was looking at her laughing, and then she felt all embarrassed, and I was like,
embarrassed. I'm like, what are you embarrassed about? I guess you're embarrassed because you're with him. I guess that's what you're embarrassed about.
You with Eli, but it say biggest day. Like, come on, man. Like, the rules, this is Bel Air Academy. Like, y'all all knew what y'all signed up for. So I don't know why y'all thought to make this a big deal of he was out of uniform, period. Like, he knew he was out of uniform. So, like, it's just like in the original Fresh Prince when Will turned the jacket inside out. Like,
Yep.
So, but yeah, I knew she was just gonna make this whole big fuss about it. I was just like, so I'm glad that they didn't keep on with this scene too long.
Yeah, I wanted this to come and go. I didn't want us to spend much time with this because we've spent too much time with this and it hasn't really went anywhere. And I don't know, it's not important to the story for the characters. It's more about the message that it sends. And, you know, we always talk about this in all these shows that we watch. There's always some form of inclusion for these type of characters in these shows. And I think that is just a moment for someone who's watching to resonate with. I really don't understand why this had to kind of be put in with Ashley's story.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Carlton comes in, he gives his mom some fruit. She's working on a painting, and they make a little joke about Regina's painting. And is this the scene where she reveals to him that she knows that he doesn't want to go to Princeton?
Yep, this is the same because they end up having a whole little discussion about it, and she ends up finding out from Hillary because she's like, you know, Hillary can't hold water.
Yep. And what does she tell him?
She basically tells him, like, you need to go and talk to talk to Phil about that and how you feeling and whatnot. And that's when we get this flashback scene right here. At first, when I first watched it, I didn't even get it. I was just like, okay, he's wide awake. But then I had to turn the volume up and listen, and you can hear Phil and Vivian in the background arguing about him going to Bel Air Academy, and how Phil's like, no, but he's smart enough to do this, to go there or whatever, where Vivian was having doubts about him going to Bel Air Academy. So I guess all of those came back in, those doubts, when he was talking to Vivian about him not wanting to go to Princeton and not disappointing his father.
Which, again, this is great. These flashbacks were actually great to learn the amount of pressure that Carlton has had on him. I really expected this, and maybe if this wasn't their last season, maybe we would have saw that last season. Wasn't it last season where Carlton blew up his whole world and everybody know that he was on that stuff and he had to go to rehab and all that stuff? See, to me, all that should have came out during this time, for us to realize that is why he was on the drugs. That is why he was having anxiety. They never really answered that in earlier seasons as to why he was on that stuff. They just said he had panic attacks.
Yep.
Well, we know why. We know why now he had those panic attacks. It's because of the pressure that Phil was putting on him, which wasn't really heavy, but for an 8-year-old boy, it was.
Yeah.
I knew we was gonna get a scene of Hillary back in the kitchen cooking. She's fixing some soup for her mother. She really
adopted the whole Costa Rica look too. Like,
yeah, like, she did. Yeah, I didn't even realize that till you said that. She did.
Yeah, like the whole episode, I kept saying like, we have not seen the Hillary from last season with the expensive shoes and the clothes and the hair done a certain way. She really, you might as well say she from Costa Rica, the way she dressing and hair and everything now that she doing with the healthy and holistic foods and all that other stuff. So
yeah, you know what? That brings me to another point, but we can't talk about that until we do episode 7. You're right about that, though. You're right. In comes Ashley, and she's had a rough day at school, and she wants to come and process with her big sister about what happened with Eli. And again, plot device for Ashley to have a moment, because this is Eli's problem, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you were struggling with identity, if you were trying to identify as a they, I could understand these feelings that you're having, because now you and him are going through the same thing. The only thing that you're going through is more so sexuality versus identity. Yeah. His is kind of more so he's going through identity. He doesn't feel comfortable being a boy, but he doesn't also feel like he's a girl either. So I don't really understand what they're trying to do with this with Ashley, other than her boyfriend is having a hard time with this, so it makes her have a hard time with this. So she's going to Hillary for some advice.
Well, we've never known since season 1 what they were doing with Ashley's character anyway. So
yeah, and I don't think we ever will.
Season 1, and I don't think they ever figured it out.
I don't think they ever figured it out. Yeah,
they just kind of wrote whatever they could to put her in there, because it's like, I mean, this season we kind of saw a little bit more Ashley, but it's still like, I don't think they even knew exactly what they wanted to do with her character since season 1.
They know they had to have her because she's part of the Banks family, so they couldn't just write her out. I feel like the reimagining of all the characters, you're right, they didn't know how to reimagine hers. So I think that was the easiest thing to do to reimagine her character, is to make her bisexual, I guess, or asexual, or whatever it is that she her sexual orientation is. I think that was the easiest way to reimagine her character. But beyond that, they had no other story to do with her. Like, I feel like they did a good job reimagining everyone else's character and giving that story. But you're right, they had nothing else to do with Ashley's character. but I do like how they tone her down in these latest episodes, as opposed to she came in hot.
Yeah.
First 2 episodes, maybe the first
Yeah.
3 episodes. So they have toned her down since that conversation with her and the bonnet conversation her and Vivian had.
Yep.
They have toned her down a little bit, and I like that. All right, so they get on the social media, they get on TikTok or Instagram Live or something like that, and Hillary's still doing her social media thing, and she's talking to her subscribers.
Yep.
And they get into the conversation about their mom being pregnant, and how they were talking about some of her health issues, and found out some of the ladies in the chat experienced some of the same symptoms that Vivian had, and we later on find out that helped diagnose
Exactly. Yep.
Vivian as to what was wrong with her. So she goes in and tells her mom, and I guess Vivian has went to the doctor now, gotten the results back, and there's some type of disorder or condition with her liver as a result of the pregnancy.
Yeah, where like it's slowing her hormones down or something like that, and that's what's causing like her liver's not it's moving slower to break it down or something like that, and that's where she's having the itchy palms and feet and stuff like that.
Is this where she also asked Hillary about LaMarcus? Are you so worried about me because of what happened with LaMarcus?
Yeah.
That's when they have that conversation as well.
Yeah.
So we see that Hillary is, again, I think it goes back to what you said earlier about her holistic approach to things now due to her time in Costa Rica. So her viewpoint on everything now is from a holistic viewpoint too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they show that more and more with all of her scenes. They tie a little bit of that in with the herbs and the things like that. So we see that now she's got more of a healing approach to everything now that's holistic.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty good. You're right. Since you said it now, every screenshot of her now, she's Costa Rica Hillary.
Yep.
Yeah. But this is when Will's mom comes in and lets him know, oddly enough, that he got accepted to Bel Air Academy. He did 48 out of 50 on the entrance exam, and Will tells her then that he did not want to go anywhere that he did not fit in, and he didn't. And she asked him why, who told you that, and he did not put Carlton out on that. He didn't say, well, Carlton told me I wouldn't fit in. He just said, you know what, I want to stay here. Who's going to teach Trey how to hoop? I really thought we would see Trey again, but one thing I do like about Bel Air is once they show a character one time, they're done with that character and it's over with.
Pretty much.
They don't come back around no more.
Like the most we saw, I think we saw maybe 3 episodes with Trey, season 1.
Yep.
And after that was it. Which kind of leads back to like the original Fresh Prince. Although we only saw Trey for 1 episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it kind of leads back, so it was just like Trey is just an afterthought or whatever. I guess that just shows like how Will has moved on with his life.
So Will is sitting here now having this flashback. So I wonder what this flashback represented for him in that moment. The only thing that I could come up with that it represented in his moment was that was his opportunity. Then he didn't take advantage of. So I think in this moment right here, the takeaway is he doesn't want to lose out on this opportunity right here that he really wants badly, because he let go of an opportunity one time before. And he's got an opportunity now that he's challenged with, and he's trying to figure out how to overcome this challenge.
Yeah.
How is Drew's father more influential than his uncle? Help me understand that.
I think because of Will.
He act like his uncle don't got money. He act like his uncle not connected.
It wasn't to deal with money. It was something.
Or was he an alumni of the school?
Yeah, it was. He was an alumni of school he was trying to get into because he was also a big donor. So he was trying to. Yeah, that's why he wanted to talk to him. and to get that help or whatnot. But of course, his father was ignoring him because of the whole thing that happened of when they threw the Blacksmith party. Will and Carlton get locked up, so of course he by that point, which is crazy to me that like you just shut him off because of that. But that's why he basically had been ignoring his calls and texts when Will was hitting him up.
Miss Frankie come through, who is the school janitor, and I really like that message that she gave Drew's dad in front of Will. And sometimes it be the people that we think the least of that be your biggest advocate. And we learned that Miss Frankie is a fan of Will. Not only is she a fan for Will, but she's rooting for Will. But she said she's been cleaning them halls for 20 years. And she said them kids don't never speak to her, don't never acknowledge her. Will always spoke to her every day. And that meant something to her. And she also saw how bright Will was. And that, listen, he, much like any other child, has made mistakes. But, he's out here trying to overcome those challenges. Or you finna be another hurdle that he's going to have to overcome. That was a powerful message right there.
Yep.
Because sometimes you have to get people off their high horse and realize that, hey, this boy is coming to you, begging you for help and trying to do the right thing, and you're going to turn your back on him as opposed to him doing the opposite.
Yep.
That was a real powerful message, Miss Frankie. I like that. That was really a good message. And we saw that it changed Drew's dad's mind. He gave Will a shot to plead his case.
Yep.
Which we knew that he was going to help
to plead his case.
Yep. We knew he was going to help him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew that was what happened anyway.
I'll let you have this thing because I want to hear what your thoughts were on it. Because initially I thought something different.
So got Phil and Jeffrey gearing up the box. Well, basically the spar. Box, same thing, workout or whatever or whatnot. And when they go at it, it's so much aggression towards each other that, in my opinion, it literally turned into a real fight.
That's what I thought too. Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, like it turned into a real fight because Phil was mad at Jeffrey for not disclosing that he was still talking to Dominique at the Legacy's Heights site where they were, the building site or whatever. And Jeffrey was pissed at him for not letting him know like the full details of him going to the feds. And Phil gives him the opportunity to like, hey, let's do this. You come in, we could do it this way. I can't promise you, but I can do everything I can to help get you back to your family. And Jeffrey wasn't really like, nah, I don't know if I'm a bank. I don't know if I'm a bank on that because you can't promise that I do all of this. I'm gonna get back to my family. So, but yeah, at a certain point, that wasn't no boxing. That it turned to a full-fledged fight because at one point Jeffrey had the upper hand.
Phil gave him a good lick too, though.
Yeah, at the end, and I think that's what stopped it. I think they both stopped because they realized at this point now we about to get real.
Yeah,
because Jeffrey was straight giving them body blows, and then when Phil came up and hit him with that hook straight to the jaw. Right after that is when they just kind of stopped, and I think they both realized like, yo, it's really about to get real. So let's just go ahead and shut this down before we both really be fighting out here.
Okay. So you did pick up on what I picked up on because I thought so too. This wasn't just a workout. I thought this was a little bit too much aggression in these blows that y'all were throwing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the anger. What I wasn't sure about was what Jeffrey, I knew what Phil was angry about because you're right, he was not honest with him about the situation at the construction site with Dominique. So I knew that's what Phil was upset about. But I couldn't figure out what Jeffrey was upset about. And I also couldn't figure out how did Jeffrey know that Phil, unless Phil had told him and we just didn't see that part. How did Jeffrey know that he gave up Dominique to the feds?
Yeah, that's why I felt like Jeffrey knew somewhat of Phil's plan, but not all of it.
Okay.
And that's what pissed him off. Like, yo, I guess that wasn't a plan. Because remember, he told him
you left me out of the full plan. You only told me what you wanted me to know. You didn't tell me the full plan.
Yeah. Because remember in the last episode, he told Jeffrey that, like, yo, I'll do whatever I got to do to protect my family. So that probably put it in Jeffrey's mind that, like, yo, let me go, whatchamacallit, and he probably found out more information about what Phil was doing and giving up Dominique.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense right there. Okay. All right. So
they could have kept this in. They could have deleted it.
So Eli had got detention for being out of dress code because he had the skirt on. And, you know, Ashley felt some kind of way about it. And she took the same advice that Hillary gave her back in the kitchen when she came home, said she had a bad day. Sometimes it helps not to be alone. And that is a true statement. Sometimes it does help not to be alone. And I guess the biggest message that we're taking away from this is, as her boyfriend struggles with identity crisis, she's letting him know that you're not alone. I'm here with you. So she's decided to,
I guess, yeah. I'm going to be a whatchamacallit with you. I'm going to be
to
mess up her uniform.
Mess up her uniform so she can get to the detention too with him. So it was just a moment, a tender moment. That's all it was.
Yeah, I was like, y'all could have kept this.
Yeah,
but
how big that boy hands is to her. That boy is 21 years old and she's 13. Shit, as big as his hands is, he look like he's 32. Costa Rica, Hillary and Vivian are coming downstairs, and she tells Vivian, because we learned that Vivian is so far along in her pregnancy towards the end, she cannot travel. She's not approved to fly, so she could not go to Washington to deliver the painting for Regina. So Hillary did the next best thing by inviting Regina to the mansion, and we learn that it is Tyra Banks
character. Yep,
it's Tyra Banks.
You was pointing on with that one.
She looks great.
Oh no! You thought
I said it was Janet Hubert. I said it was Janet Hubert that was going to be her. But you actually said that Janet Hubert was going to be her mother, but she ended up being the midwife. So you were kind of right about Janet Hubert's character more than I was.
Yeah,
I thought Janet Hubert was going to be the alumni president from the fraternity, but it was Tyra Banks. And we kind of learned a little backstory as to why she gave Vivian a hard time, besides the fact that she was a little bit of a bitch. But at the same time, Vivian was always mouthy when she was online. She was online pledging. Vivian was always that one that challenged authority.
Yeah.
And so they sit and they talk, and I think we missed the part. Maybe it's in the next episode. I won't go there. We talked about they kind of go through old times where they talked about how Vivian was, mouthy online and all that good stuff. They also talked about how hard Regina was, and I think she gave a little backstory as to why she's the way she is. And I think it had something to do with her mother.
Yeah, because it's right after this. After they get the painting, after she sees the painting, she doesn't like it.
She doesn't like it. Yeah.
She was like, I don't have this, whatever or whatnot. And then that's when Hillary steps in and was just like, maybe my mom sees you in a different light. And then that's when Gina's like, my mom told me, like, this is how I had to be. So I've carried her, I guess, her pain and whatnot through me over the years. And now she's finally realizing that, and how she treated Viv and all of them. So now she finally realized that, like, she's been carrying that pain and burden that her mom set on her all these years now. So it was kind of dope that actually Hillary was able for her to point it out. Because I think if Hillary wasn't there, like, it
would win as well.
Yeah, it would have went totally different.
Yeah. And that right, her mother, the way her mother was, shaped who she became. So
Yeah.
I think now she's accepting that she can be a different version of herself and not have to be this, rough and tough person. Painting came out nice. They take a selfie and it's a happy moment. So Hillary's here to save the day. So they sit, Will and Carlton are sitting out on the patio and they're kind of reflecting on their day and their decisions to both walk away from their opportunities. And I think Carlton I think he's at peace at this moment. Has he found peace with this situation now in his decision? Has he made his decision yet?
He made his decision. He still hasn't spoken to Uncle Phil about it yet, but this is also where he apologized to Will
about the
comment
that
my father expects more from me. Comment.
Oh, that's right, because he still hasn't. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and that's when we get that flashback. Mm-hmm. And see when he's first coming
into Bel Air Academy.
Yep, when he's first coming into Bel Air, and that's where he points out to the Princeton flag and Phil is like, Michelle Obama went there and whatnot. Like, you're going to be great, and we can see from the young Carlton right there, just like how scared and nervous he is coming into this new school and whatnot.
He was scared. Yep, you can see it all over him. Mm-hmm. So right then and
I didn't know Bel Air Academy went down that far. I thought it was like a high school as far as I was concerned. I didn't even know it went all the way back to
grade school.
Yeah, the grade school.
Yeah. I think all preparatory schools are like that though. I think they start from the 8th grade on up.
Yeah, but Carlton came in the 8th grade right here. It looked like he every bit of like in the 5th grade.
Yeah, 4th and 5th grade. Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but if he is, that's a small 8th grader.
Yeah. All the little kids look small. So you're right. Maybe he's like in the 5th grade. So that's even worse then. So that means even through grade school, he had that pressure.
Yeah.
Even through grade school, he had that pressure all the way into high school and now college. We now see why he's at this crossroads that he's in right now, because basically all throughout school, all throughout his life, he's had this pressure. And now going into college, it's not going to be easier. It's going to be harder. Yep. And he wants to be somewhere where he can be himself. And I respect him for that. And so this is his moment of confession to to his dad about his feelings towards Princeton, his feelings throughout the years, the pressures. And I think Phil realizes himself that I put too much on you. And a lot of it came from because he had to pull himself up by the bootstraps, put himself through college. And he too was at a college where he didn't feel like he belonged.
Yeah.
Because at that time he didn't have money. Yeah, he went to Harvard. He didn't have money. So he's competing with all of the rich kids. And so I guess he wanted his son to not have to feel that way. But ultimately he made his son feel that way. So he kind of realizes that, damn, I did the most. I shouldn't have put that much pressure on you. And so he kind of acknowledges that and gives Carlton the blessing to make his decision if he does not want to go to Princeton.
Yeah, and he finally said, he was like, with you not wanting to do that means that I've done something right. You got to take your own path. So, you got to be your own man, and this is your journey. So he realized then, like, at least he did
raise him
Carlton. Yep. Yeah, like he taught him enough to to follow his own path and not try to follow in the shadow of somebody.
Make your own decisions. Yep. So now he is reviewing all of the offers that he may have had, or maybe applications that he wants to submit, and he chooses the school, but he doesn't say it out loud. He just shows Uncle Phil what school he chose, and they were happy with that decision he made.
No, I
And
thought
Will's
he
back on the
told him then.
He didn't announce it out loud. He didn't announce it out loud. He did. He said, "This is the school I'm going to." He just didn't say what school he was going to.
Okay.
He didn't say it doesn't come out until episode 7.
Okay.
Because it starts off episode 7. It starts off with the reveal.
Yeah, I thought he did though. Okay.
No, he didn't name it. He didn't say it out loud in this episode. He said, "I've chosen this is the school I'm going to." It just didn't identify what it is. Will back on the phone with his mama again on FaceTime, and I thought Kiki Wyatt was going to give him a hard time to go. Might be a Kiki Wyatt. I thought she would get ready to give him a hard time about it, but she seems happy, and she was like, "What school are you choosing?" And he said, "I'm coming home." So you were right. You were absolutely right. I thought it was going to be ULA. You were right. He's going back to Philly. That was a good observation you made last episode. The backpack and the bag.
Yeah.
You did that. That was
like, yeah, he going back home.
He going home. He going home. Okay. And that was this week's episode. It was not that bad. I expected just a little bit more backstory with Phil and Jeffrey. I feel like the flashbacks they gave us, I needed just one more. I just needed one more. I guess we're left to assume that their bond grew over years, because I still don't understand what made them so close.
That's probably what it is, the bond over the years. I mean, they said it when he said he was there from when Carlton was born.
He's been there in their life for 20 years or so.
Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much what it was. He was just the protector. And that just made them closer and brothers, because he always looked out for the family no matter what.
And we really see it next episode, that he looks at that family like it's his. Just the only thing that's missing is Penelope and Frederick, and Jeffrey will be complete, because he really cares about them like that's his real family. He treats them like that's his real family. So you're right. That's probably what it is. Their bond strengthened over the years.
Yep.
All right, so that's our episode recap of Bel-Air. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, drop your comments, and share the video out. We will be back later this week to go ahead and hit y'all with episode 7, boo, 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 episode 8, and that'll be the end of Bel-Air. Damn, this thing came so fast, yo.
Yeah, they missed the mark the way they dropped these episodes.
Man,
they dropped the ball big time. The way they dropped these episodes for a finale.
Yeah. And I feel like they should have gave us. Well, we'll talk about it. All right, Fresh, you got any last minute?
Nope. I said what we've been saying all season. So he kind of been saying the same thing all season.
Right?
Just said it again. Like, it don't make no sense how fast the season is going. But
and it don't make no sense that this is the end. But you never know. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in the next video. We out.
Oh.